What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy, the wisest and most powerful of all nerds, BrimeZus. Today, I'm going over a list of the top 10 games that I would like to see on the Nintendo Switch in no particular order. All the games that I talk about on this list have not yet been confirmed by Nintendo. Just games that I would personally like to see, as well as some game designs aspects that I strongly implore Nintendo to implement in their future games. So without further ado, let's get started. With the exception of the Metroid game in Nintendo Land, Metroid is a series that skipped the last generation with the Nintendo Wii U. On the Nintendo Wii, we've got two killer Metroid games with Metroid Prime 3 Corruption and Metroid Prime Other M. Metroid Prime 3 is arguably the greatest first-person shooter Nintendo has ever produced. It has been over 6 years now. Nintendo, it's time. The stuff that you tried to pull in the 3DS with Metroid Federation Force was unacceptable. I mean, it wasn't an absolute terrible game, but it's 2016 when the game came out, bro. Do better. We know you could do better, Nintendo. And I also want multiplayer for the new Metroid game. That's going to be a reoccurring issue on this list. I feel like that concept that was used in the Metroid Prime attraction for Nintendo Land was heavily underutilized on the last system. Being able to fly Zom's spaceship was extremely awesome, and the co-op functionality was very exceptional. That sort of thing needs to make a return on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I know that we got Donkey Kong games for all of the Nintendo home consoles as well as the handhelds. And not only that, but pretty much all of them were very well done, especially the Donkey Kong Country Returns series. Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Nintendo Wii and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze are by far my favorite side-scrolling Donkey Kong games, and probably my favorite side-scrolling platformer games of all time. I wouldn't mind getting the 3rd edition, but I couldn't imagine the side-scrolling for Donkey Kong getting much better than it already is. Instead, I would like to see something similar to the Donkey Kong 64 for the Nintendo 64. Before the release of the GameCube, my favorite games were The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Banjo-Tooie, and Donkey Kong 64. Having a 3D Donkey Kong adventure game with 5 playable characters and an enjoyable multiplayer with loads of content and areas to explore was just unreal at the time. I can only imagine what a realistic Donkey Kong adventure will look like in this day and age. If they create a 3D platformer that looks similar to Breath of the Wild, I'm going to wet my pants. I am utterly disappointed that we have not received an F-Zero game on the home console since 2003's F-Zero GX for the GameCube. And we haven't seen an F-Zero game since 2004's GBA release. What in the actual heck, Nintendo? That's over a decade without an F-Zero. How did you manage to skip both the Wii and the Wii U? How did you manage to skip the DS, the DS-Lite, the DSi, and the majority of the 3DS lifespan? And I don't care about the fast era RMX and the predecessor that came out on the Wii Virtual Console or whatever. I want an F-Zero game with F-Zero characters. I want a story mode that really tests your driving skills, some added functions to the F-Zero racing that we have yet to imagine, and it better have online functionality that fast RMX has, but much better, because that's bearable in quality and currently is not cutting edge. I want better customization when it comes to vehicles. I want intense, fast-paced, relentless graphics that will make you pass out from your heart rate being too high. I want a crazy soundtrack that can match all of this, that's unlike anything we've heard before in any game. This is probably the most selfish demand I'm making on this list. I really enjoyed the first Pokken tournament game that came out from the Nintendo Wii U. Unfortunately, I didn't get much time to play it due to some events that are going on in my life at the time. Since I usually play games competitively, a game like Pokken took a lot of practice to get good at. It is definitely not as easy to pick up as Smash Brothers, and it's not as basic as Street Fighter. I really love the concept, and I feel that there is still a lot they can do to improve on the game content, even with just adding more characters. It is a game that I would really like to play if I had the opportunity, but due to it being overshadowed by Smash Brothers for the Wii U and the emerging popularity of the Nintendo Switch, I hope they come out with another game like it in the future. Yeah guys, I know that we just got a Star Fox game last year, the same way we got a Pokemon tournament, but I was underwhelmed by Star Fox Zero. I truly felt that we were shortchanged with the last Star Fox game. There were some elements missing from this game that were seen in other Star Fox games that I felt were completely essential. I felt that there was absolutely no reason that we have not gotten at least a 4-player multiplayer. This is the first game since Star Fox 64 to not have multiplayer, with the exception of Star Fox Adventure, which was completely acceptable because in that case it was an adventure game that was very similar to The Legend of Zelda. You would expect in 2016 that you would get a freaking Star Fox Battlefront with 100-player online functionality or something. I know that that's really pushing it for Nintendo, but seriously, you get the idea. I know that the traditional Star Fox games aren't that long, but since we waited so long for the next installment in the franchise, we could have got something more expansive. I did enjoy a lot of new elements in new Star Fox Zero games, such as the vehicle transformations and even the gyroscopic controls, which allow you to get kills a lot faster once you become good enough. Absolutely under no circumstances do I want another reboot or remix of the Star Fox series. I want a new legit installment in the series. Hopefully the next one will reintroduce Crystal into the franchise while offering the same open-endedness to going about the main story like they did in Star Fox Command, along with the enjoyable multiplayer that they offered in Star Fox Assault. Maybe even the co-op main story missions. I know that we just got Breath of the Wild, and it's the greatest game to ever hit the shelves. I want to go on record when I say that I am 100% waiting 5 or 6 years for another Zelda game of that kind. What I'm hoping for is a game that's not conventional to the traditional Legend of Zelda concept, such as Hyrule Warriors, Triforce Heroes, or Four Swords Adventures. Unlike Hyrule Warriors, I want this game to be canon and take place in the Legend of Zelda timeline continuity. I want the core gameplay to focus around intensive multiplayer action. I still want a healthy amount of puzzle solving and ingenuity to progress throughout the game as well. The game can be entirely mission based, and at this point I wouldn't mind minimal exploration because of the large world that we got in Breath of the Wild. Not to mention the downloadable content that we will be receiving for the latest Zelda game. I think taking the Zelda franchise in a brand new direction for a couple of years will be very helpful for this series to help keep it fresh before we get another game similar to Breath of the Wild. Bayonetta 2 was a perfect action game. Unlike other games on this list, I don't want another Bayonetta game again anytime soon, but hopefully towards the end of the Nintendo Switch lifespan, maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't think there's much they can do to make a game like Bayonetta better at this moment. And changing conventions of Bayonetta might do more harm than good at this point. So we don't need a Bayonetta RPG. So we don't need something like a Bayonetta RPG. We don't need a Bayonetta first-person shooter or something like that. But we do deserve another Bayonetta game in the future eventually. Custom Robo is a franchise that is seldomly seen throughout Nintendo. We haven't seen a custom rover game since the one we got for the GameCube. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the only time we ever got a US release of custom rover was the game that came out for the Nintendo GameCube. I would be happy enough getting a custom rover game that fits the basic needs of a game in 2017 while still staying true to its fundamentals. I wouldn't mind if it made drastic changes in the game whatsoever, as long as it still resembles what the franchise was built upon. One game that, to my surprise, didn't get a remake was the bestseller on the Nintendo GameCube's Kirby's Air Ride. It was a phenomenal game and a unique racing game. Plus, the music in that game was absolutely dope. Nintendo Wii also featured two extremely dope Kirby games, which were in the forms of Kirby's Epic Yarn and Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Return to Dreamland was my favorite Kirby game of all time. The 4-player co-op gameplay was the most memorable to me. Plus, the overall level design stands out from the rest. I would actually like more than one Kirby game for the Nintendo Switch, whether it's a remake or new installment in Kirby's Air Ride for another platform. We did get a few killer Kirby games for the 3DS, but I need them to make a significant return to the home console. The Kirby game that we got for the Nintendo Wii U was absolute trash. I'm sorry. And I hope it wasn't something. Now, it's true we still have a very strong community for the Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. Super Smash Bros. Wii U is the finest installment in the Super Smash Bros. Series. It caused exponential growth in the competitive gaming scene, and it doesn't seem as if it will die down anytime soon in the realm of esports. I don't want the Super Smash Bros. Wii U community, or Smash 4 community as we call it, to go away anytime soon. But I would like a brand new edition of Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch. I don't want to have a deluxe version of a Super Smash Bros. Wii U ported to the Nintendo Switch. It was okay with Super Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The last 3 installments of the 2 Super Smash Bros. Games, including the one for the 3DS and Brawl, are all extremely identical. I love all 3 of those games, but I want a brand new experience and a different kind of engine and formula with the Smash Brothers that we hopefully get for the Nintendo Switch. That wraps up my top 10 list of games I hope to get confirmed by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. Hopefully we see some of these games, if not all these games, featured in the upcoming E3 this year. Personally, I can't wait to see what Nintendo has in store, and I will more than love to be surprised. I also want to praise the Most High for allowing me to have a great start to my YouTube channel. In less than 2 months, I reached over 150 subscribers, not knowing much about YouTube growth or how to edit videos and build my channel properly. Once my channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, however, I will be doing a Nintendo Switch giveaway. As many of you already know, one lucky subscriber will win their very own Nintendo Switch. This Nintendo Switch right here, this Nintendo Switch right here, this is my Nintendo Switch. You can tell because it has the blue and red Joy-Cons. And this is your Nintendo Switch, the all black everything Nintendo Switch. Okay, mine is the open box. As you can see, this is the completely unadulterated Nintendo Switch that one of you guys will win. I will also be giving away King Kamara shirts to as many people as I can that help support my channel. This is your boy BrimeZus, the wisest and most powerful of all nerds. See you next time.